business credit webinar. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to show my screen to you guys. All right, can everybody see my screen? It should say business credit, the secret of securing your business. If you would, yeah, there we go. Great. Appreciate the help in the chat line. That lets me know that you guys can see what it is that I need you to see. Tonight's webinar is about business credit and securing the future of your business and the ability to allow you to grow without having to use your personal credit and your personal finances. This picture that you're looking at is clearly from the top of a building in New York City. There's the Chrysler Building over there, the Empire State Building. So as we move forward, if you have questions, drop them over into the chat. I will try to answer them and I will try to get to them, but I assure you I'm going to be packing a lot of content into a short amount of time. So here we go. Has any of you guys, or have any of you guys, ever owned a business that failed? You had a business and then it simply could not sustain itself any longer. Everybody has a few statistics here. We're going to look at 100 U.S.-based businesses, and these statistics are from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This isn't me making them up. This is real statistics of the likelihood that your business is going to fail. After 1 year, 20% of people will have already lost their business. Within 5 years, 50% of those same people will have lost their business. And within 15 years, 75% of people will have lost their business. They will not be able to sustain their business any longer. There's a couple of main reasons. We're going to talk about those, but look at the chart. This chart shows the survival rates of establishments by year started. That's from 94 to 2010. You can see by the time businesses that are 10, 12, 15 years old, the likelihood of those businesses existing any longer is extremely small, less than 25%. Why do so many fail? It comes down to two reasons. The main two reasons that businesses fail is going to be bad decisions, lack of experience. You can see this guy has a tattoo that says, clearly I have made some bad decisions, which is kind of an ironically awesome tattoo, honestly. But the other reason is insufficient access to working capital. That's one of the, I'm here to tell you guys, I can't do anything really about the bad decisions that you make. I know that a lot of you guys are Renata students, a lot of you guys are entrepreneurs, a lot of you guys are out there seeking and learning ways to improve yourselves and improve your business acumen, and that's fantastic. That works on that side. Today's webinar is going to tell you how to work on the other side, the insufficient access to working capital. All right? Where would you go if you needed money to grow? Right? You're thinking to yourself, okay, I need money, and I got to go out and I've got to go get some money because I need to do this new thing, or I want to open this next location, or I want to go to this, open this new product, or I want to do this real estate transaction, or whatever it is that you want to do. Where are you going to get that money? Most people use one of four sources. They use family, right? Going to family members is one of the four most common ways. This can and has caused the demise of many families in the past. Using family members' money risks more than just your credit. That also risks your relationships. And if you know, relationships are one of those key four currencies that allow your business to conduct business. So you have to protect your relationships just as strongly as you protect your time and your money and your knowledge. What about assets? A lot of people use personal assets. A business entity established as a sole proprietorship is the most susceptible to this risk, okay? When you utilize your personal assets, that's things like utilizing your own house and doing a second mortgage or a first mortgage or whatever, and utilizing that as a way to fund your business. That's a mistake, and we'll talk about why. Credit, using personal credit. Now, this one's kind of tricky because you guys know me. You know that I'm a huge fan of personal credit, but it's hands down the biggest and most common mistake entrepreneurs make is using personal credit to finance their business. Now, I'm not saying, and hear me out, I'm not saying you can't use personal credit in the process of financing your business. I'm telling you not to finance your business utilizing your personal credit account. And there's a difference. Utilizing your personal credit account is like going out and getting a credit card and then utilizing that credit card to fund a business transaction. People do that. Sometimes when you only have certain options, you don't own a business yet, you're trying to do different things, you're trying to, we use personal funding when we are working with people to fund their Renatus education. There's lots of reasons to use those things, but when you are actually trying to fund your business, you need to use business credit and business funding, which is separate from your personal credit file, even if the two are attached. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And then finally is banks. If you're expecting to fund your business through banks, my advice, keep looking. Many people believe banks to be the key to financing. I will assure you it is simply not the case, and I want to show you another statistic from the Department of Labor. Get ready for it. This will probably shock a couple of you guys. 1.2% of business loans come from conventional SBA bank loans. 1.2%. Think about that. That means 98.8% come from alternative lenders and sources. And not only that, in 2014, the amount of funds allocated to the Small Business Administration decreased by $108 million. That means there's less access, which is going to, supply and demand. There's less supply, more demand. It's going to be even harder now to obtain an SBA loan. And when I say it's even harder now, it's harder than 1.2%, because 98.8% of business loans and lines came from alternative lenders and not from conventional bank loans. Look at this. 86% of businesses rely on their personal credit. That's from the National Federation of Independent Businesses. Here's another one for you. 89% of business loan applications were denied. That's from the Small Business Lending Index. 89% of business loan applications are denied. So if you are expecting to go and get an SBA loan or even get a conventional bank loan for your business, you have about a 1 in 10 shot of maybe getting that. Here's one more for you. Funding a small business, don't bother with banks. That's from Bloomberg. I'm going to tell you, we have to face it, the old way of getting money is dead. Going to banks and getting money does not work. Now, somebody's going to say, Eric, I know a guy that got an SBA loan, and that's great. I know a guy that won the lottery. I know a guy that did this or did that. When it becomes a common thing, think about this. Think about how many people you know that have gotten an SBA loan or have gotten a business lending loan from a traditional bank. The numbers are extremely small. And the reason is because they just don't exist the way that they used to exist. So there are still ways to access money, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee. We are about to dive into the best option available to secure your business's future with the ability to access capital. And that's what it's about. If you have the ability to access capital, then you have the ability to secure your business's future. If you don't have to worry about money, what else are you worried about? I mean, I guess you might worry about your bad decisions, but you know what? I can't, like I said before, I can't really help you there. Step one, start a business. Notice I capitalized and bolded the word business in a few different places because I want it to sound like this. Step one, start a business. Seems like it would be simple, but for some reason people skip it. Yeah? When you decide to grow your business credit profile, your business must first pass a business credibility test. Now, I got the pleasure of doing this business credit training in New York City and a couple of other places. Sorry, Jason Miller. It'll be there soon, I promise. But I've got the ability to do this in a lot of different places, and the number one thing that people don't understand that they're missing is a business. They go, well, I've got an EIN. Well, that's not a business. They go, well, I've got a business bank account. Well, that's not a business. Well, I've got this or I've got that. We're going to talk about some key factors to passing a business credibility test. Here's how you pass the test. Have an entity. LLC, S Corp, C Corp work the best. Do not use a sole proprietorship. It does not provide you the separation that you need. It does not provide you the protection that you need. and they're not funded nearly as highly. When you're a sole proprietor, they fund you out as though you're an individual. On the others, they'll fund you out based upon your company's ability to pay instead of your personal ability to pay. Two completely different, your company can withhold a much higher debt load than a personal credit profile is built to hold. So number one, have an entity. But there's more to having a business than having an entity. Now, if you have an entity, yes, you're a business owner. Way to go. You own a business, right? But what I'm talking about is how to pass the bank's business test, all right? These are the things that you need in order for the bank to say that Rashawn owns a business or that Quentin owns a business. In order for those things to happen, you need these things. A business address, preferably a true location. If that's not an option, okay, great. Use a virtual office. Do not use a P.O. box for your business. Many business loan applications will even list on them. List your mailing address, then list your physical location. Why? Well, it's simple. They want to know if you're a home-based business or not. We live in a very digital world now. We live in a world where it's very easy to check up on the information that you are providing. So think about it like this. If you provide a business address that is your home address, and then you tell the bank that you are not a home-based business, we live in the world of Google Maps, guys. We live in a world that has, Google has an API that will tell them where your property is and how it's zoned and all of those different things that they can match your information to. Business applications, business credit applications, when they pull your business credit profiles, are expensive. It's actually cheaper and more cost effective for them to have certain checks in place before they even pull your business credit profile. So lenders out there will check these different things before you even make it to the credit pull part. Personal credit pulls, that's where they want to start. You walk into a bank and they go, hey, let's pull your credit. When you're dealing with business loans and business lines of credit, there's other things that they look at first, and that's one of them, business address. If you cannot have a permanent or a physical location, get a virtual office. You can find virtual office services with places like Regis. There's little independent places. I know Hugh Zaretsky up in New York provides a virtual office service for his people. They have a set of mailboxes there. They have a meeting space there. They have desk space. So that person can, for an extremely small fee, get access to an address on Madison Avenue, which is pretty cool. You know that now your company actually has an address on Madison Avenue. That's the way a virtual office works. Some of them go as far as answering phones for you, taking messages, receiving mail, all of those different things. So you want to have a business address, and you want it to be as legitimate as possible, because legitimacy is the key to business funding. Business phone. This is not your cell phone number, and it should not be answered like one. I'm going to answer 2 calls. One of them is going to be my business line. I'm going to say, hello, CreditNerds.com, this is Eric, how can I help you? And the other one is my cell phone number. I'm going to say, hello, hello, and then somebody's going to be like, yeah, is this CreditNerds? Yeah. Now, which one sounds more professional? Me going, hello, McFly, or the one where I'm going, CreditNerds.com, this is Eric, how can I help you? Guys, banks want to lend, and lenders want to lend, and vendors want to lend to legitimate businesses. There are services out there that allow you to have a business phone for an extremely low cost. Things like Ring Central, things like Grasshopper, 8x8. There's lots of little business VoIP, which is Voice over Internet Protocol, VoIP lines that allow you to have a legitimate business without having to have a hard-line phone system built into like an office line. Okay, so you can absolutely still answer business calls with your cell phone. But when you have that VoIP line, that line needs to ring so that you know for a fact that that's calling your business line. And when you answer it as though you were a business. Imagine if you called a business. You called down to an attorney's office, or you called over to your doctor's office. and the person answered the phone, hello. That's perfectly acceptable to answer your personal calls. It's not acceptable to answer your business calls. So make sure you answer your phone like a business. Business listing. Have your business listed as public in the National 411 phone directory. Guys, I cannot stress the importance of this step in order to get business funding. I can name lenders that their only requirement of a net 30 line, we'll talk about those in a minute too, but the only thing that they check in order to get you a net 30 line is whether you are listed in the National 411 registry. You call, they put you on hold, they take down your information, they take down your business information, they put you on hold, and while you are on hold, they will check your 411 listing. If you are listed, you get the line. If you're not listed, you do not get the line, and you're required to pay for your first couple of orders before they will give you your net 30 terms. The only requirement that this company has is that you're listed in the 411. It takes 3 or 4 minutes. It's an extremely important step. Don't skip this stuff, because if you do not have a legitimate business, then not only are you not going to get funding, hear me out, you don't deserve business funding. You don't deserve business credit. You don't have a business. Get a business. Next, business website. This is important. Do not skip or underestimate the importance of this step. If you are wanting to fund out a business, have a business website, and on that website, I didn't put the slides here, so if you're taking notes, take this note. You need to have a terms of service and a privacy policy. Terms of service and privacy policy. Put those two things on there. Those are some of the requirements of certain business lenders as well. Terms of service and a privacy policy being on your website. If you ever try to get a merchant account, the ability to accept credit cards, a lot of them will make sure that your website has a terms of service and a privacy policy, especially if you're trying to take any type of payment online. So get a website. This one's one of my most frustrating ones. Get a business email. Hotmama69@hotmail.com is not a business email. Knock it off. Time to get a big boy and big girl email. Preferably, your email will be something along the lines of your name at yourcompany.com, right? Mine is eric@creditnerds.com. I know some of you guys, use Gmail because of the functionalities and things like that. That's great. You can still use Gmail and get a professional custom email address. Sometimes we don't like to admit it occasionally because it's things that we all do. But I'll tell you, sometimes people hand me a business card, and I look down at the business card, and it's got a Yahoo email address on it, and I immediately discount that person's business. That person may have an amazing product. They may have something fantastic to offer me. But when I look down and see a Yahoo email address or a Hotmail email address or even a Gmail email address, I immediately discount that person's business. And so does the bank. Business license. Whatever is required by your state and local governments plus some. If there's a way to get a license, if there's a way to get some sort of certification, if there's a way to do it, do it. How great is it? I don't have to be FICO certified, but it's nice to be able to say, hey, I'm a FICO certified credit professional. I don't have to join the National Association of Credit Services Organizations, NACSO, but I can say, our company is registered with NACSO, which is a self-governing organization that kind of weeds out the bad apples in credit and credit repair and financing. Those things allow you to gain and grow legitimacy, and that's what matters on these lower-end level types of accounts. You got to remember, we're not talking, as we build through these things, we're not talking about the types of credit to where you're going to go out and get $100,000 tomorrow, right? We're talking about building from a small profile up to a legitimate strong profile. You'll see as we talk through the different types of accounts why this all makes sense and why these things are so extremely important. EIN number. We finally made it to something that you know you need. right? EIN number is your it's the number that identifies your business to lenders. So it's kind of the social, if you will, of your business. It's the number that allows your business to conduct business. It's an employer identification number, have employees, different things. But you're going to need that in order to have business credit profiles, because that's the number that your business credit profiles will be listed through. And finally, a business bank account. Guys, a true business account, not a personal account with a DBA on it. If the first name on your bank statement is yours, it's probably not a business bank account. If it says Eric Counts and then below that, CreditNerds.com, that's probably a personal account with a DBA attached to it. Now, the reason that matters is business accounts are issued bank ratings, business bank ratings. So your business bank account kind of has its own credit score, if you will. What they do is they match things like they monitor things like your average daily balance, whether you've ever had any NCF or NSF fees, whether you regularly make deposits, or if you happen to, do you only make a deposit once a month, or do you make deposits every day? Are you conducting business? When you are doing those things, your business bank account gets a bank rating. A business banking in the low to mid fives is going to be a requirement of a lot of loans. If you have a business bank account and you rarely ever put money in it, and your average daily balance is $300, and you bounced a couple of checks last, you are going to have a difficult time, I assure you, getting even non-business credit-backed money. So the understanding that you're going to come across is that there's money that doesn't require any personal credit, none. Doesn't matter your personal credit, but it's going to require a business credit profile. Now there's loans and lines of credit out there that don't require personal credit or business credit. But if they don't require personal credit and they don't require business credit, how are they offsetting their risk? How are those lenders offsetting their risk? Guys, it's with these 9 things. These are the things that people skip, and these are the reasons that people's business credit profiles don't go to fruition. These are the reasons. Is because they want to skip these steps. There's 3 main sources of lending that the banks do not want you to know about. We're going to talk about those 3. The first one is cash flow financing. It is by far the easiest money available to business owners today. It's a fast, simple way to secure money with as low as a 500 credit score. It's not the cheapest money, I will let you know, but it's fast and it's easy to obtain. With if you have those 9 things, you're set. That's all you need. No personal credit, no personal guarantees, none of that stuff. Simple. Cash flow financing basically offsets its risk by seeing that your business has cash flow. There's money coming in, money going out, money coming in, money going out. You are conducting business. This fits for a lot of business owners that we work with outside of Renatus, honestly. Inside things like the Renatus organization, we deal with a lot of people who are still taking in money in their personal name. They're doing even some of their real estate projects are even still coming in their personal name, and so their business itself doesn't show any cash flow. So they come in and they want to try to find money, and it's difficult because they're not showing anything. Next is collateral-based lending. This type of lending does require some kind of collateral, right? Give you an idea of some of the things that it could use: stocks, bonds, 401ks, inventory, equipment, real estate, insurance, book of business. There's lots of things. Purchase orders, lots of things can be used in order for you to get that type of money. Collateral-based lending offsets its risk by using the collateral. Equipment lines, if you own a business that owns things, you can utilize those things, do things like leaseback options that allow you to sell your let's say you have a large bulldozer. I don't know, sounds like a piece of equipment. You sell that to the lender. The lender then leases it back to you. So he gives you your bulldozer back, and then you make a payment on the bulldozer. But you were able to utilize that money to do the project that you need to do. The number one story that I tell about collateral-based lending is we helped a person utilize a purchase order for their lending. So what happened was we had a client come in, and he said, hey, I need some money because I have to buy 2 new snowplows. And I said, what do you mean 2 new snowplows? He said, well, I need to buy 2 new snowplows because I got offered the contract to be the snowplow operator for the city, but in order for me to accept that contract, I need to have 2 more snowplows because right now I don't have enough snowplows to finish the job. And I said, no. You need to accept the contract so that you can get those snowplows. So we discussed it, talked about the fact he accepted the contract, used that contract and the purchase order from the city as the collateral to purchase the 2 new snowplows. So you have to sometimes think backwards when it comes to business credit, especially funding. There's lots of side doors and back doors and windows and things to get in. There's lots of creative ways to find the money that's out there. Unsecured lending. Apparently, I messed up that. That's awesome. I just left the lorem ipsum there. So I'll tell you about unsecured lending. We use unsecured lending a lot. Unsecured lending is basically anything that doesn't require any type of collateral. So no houses, no autos, it doesn't require anything. They just lend based upon a credit profile. That's really it. A lot of times you can receive unsecured lending simply because you have shown a good payment history and a good utilizations of things on other business loans. We're going to talk about your actual true business credit profile in a second and how it's different than building out your personal credit profile. But as you build out your business credit profile, you are able to get to a point to get unsecured lending based solely on that, with no personal guarantee, with no not requiring to put down a car, or not requiring you to put down a house or equipment or anything else. It's just unsecured. That's what unsecured means. I'm going to move on from that because surely everybody on this call knows what unsecured means. We're going to talk about business credit. Business credit is one of the most misunderstood and misrepresented financial tools on the market today. Business owners, 9% of business owners have created and properly managed a business credit profile on a regular basis. 9%. That means 90 and some change percent of people out there have not built out a business credit profile, and most of them don't even know what a business credit profile really is. So we're going to define that. This is business credit defined. Business credit is financing that is attained in the name of the business and not an individual or sole proprietor. It's going to report to the business credit bureaus. It's going to be based on the ability of the business to repay the loan, not the person, but the ability of the business to repay the loan. And it will not report to the personal credit profile. Now, down here below, if the loan does not default. If the loan does default, most of these lines will carry the ability, or some of these lines and loans will carry the ability to place that loan at that time on the business owner's personal credit. Now, there was a time in the past where that was unheard of. What do you mean you're going to place a line on my personal credit if it defaults? And then lenders said, okay, how about this? We will be willing to not put it on your personal credit if it's positive, but we will put it on your personal credit if it's negative. That's much better. And the reason is utilization ratios and indebtedness. Your business credit profile can hold a significantly larger amount of debt than your personal credit profile. If a person has $100,000 in unsecured debt and they are maxed out on that type of debt, then that person is going to have an extremely damaged credit profile. We have people come into our office every single day that have, 700 plus scores, They've got fantastic credit scores, but because of their utilization ratios, they're not able to receive any business funding. They got great credit, but simply because they're using too much of their credit cards, they're not able to get business lines of credit and business loans. Now, if you reverse that and you look the other way, when a business carries $100,000 in business credit, it's not as damaging. Your credit scores are based more on how you're using and how you are managing your credit than they are off of utilization ratios like your personal credit profile. So as long as you are planning on making good decisions with that line and putting it over onto your business credit profile, that's going to be growing additional credit for your business and not dragging down your personal business, utilization ratios, which will, of course, significantly damage your personal credit score. So the idea is to get all of your credit that's going to be used for a business purpose pushed over to your business credit profile, not sitting on your personal credit profile. Because when you're utilizing that business credit, guys, if it's on your personal profile, I assure you, your personal credit scores are going to reflect that. So here's some pros of business credit. Borrowing power. When you utilize business credit, you can usually double or even triple your average borrowing power of what an individual has. So if a person's got a strong personal profile and a strong business profile, then the likelihood of them approving for the same limit on both is small. The business will usually approve for significantly more than a person will. Additionally, the business, it's not as a problem to have multiple lines of credit inside your business. Honestly, the more the merrier. Way to go. On your personal side, you start getting too many accounts and they start pulling back really quickly. Because your business, guys, especially if you are working your accounts properly, your business, for most of you guys, makes way more money than you do, or it should. I mean, you talk to Mark Kohler about it, but in my head and in my business makes more money than I do. So, of course, my business can handle more credit and debt than I can personally. And if you think about it from that standpoint, you understand that, of course, your business has a significantly larger buying power and borrowing power than you do personally. Also allow for a separation. Business credit allows you to truly separate yourself from your financial requirements of the business with lines and loans that are non-guaranteed. Now, there are lots of lines and loans that are guaranteed. You're going to hear what's going to sound like double talk out of me, where I say, oh, non-guaranteed, and then right over here in the previous slide I said, hey, some of these loans won't report unless they go negative. Those are, that's kind of between you and the lender. Different lenders are going to have different requirements and different contracts. So some lenders may say, hey, we require a 100% personal guarantee. We'll still give you a business line, but your name has to be on the line for it. And it's going to go on your personal credit. As an example, the Capital One Spark card. It shows as a business card, goes right on your personal credit. Then you can turn around and say, okay, we have other lines that are business lines that aren't going to report on your personal credit unless they go negative. Then it will show up on your personal credit. Then there's other lines that they say these are business lines only, they require no personal guarantee, and they will never show up on your personal credit report even if they go charged off. So there's 3 levels of those cards. So don't let me sound like I'm kind of double talking you here. I'm just letting you know the differences come down to basically which lenders you're working with. Ease of access. Guys, business credit is significantly faster to build. It usually takes between 6 and 24 months to have a really strong business credit file built. You can start getting business credit tomorrow, I assure you. You can get business credit lines on your very first day with no personal guarantee as long as you have a business. You're set, right? Lots of business lines fund significantly faster than personal lines. I have a business line that I use occasionally to pull access to capital, and it funds in 24 hours. So when I need the money, I go and I actually do it online. It's really simple. I go online, I put in how much money I need, and because my profile's already been approved, it triggers the release, and the next day there's funds in my bank. So it's a really simple way. It's also simple to understand. Your business credit is not as difficult to understand as your personal credit. In fact, your Paydex score has only one factor. Now, we are going to talk more about the scores and things like that. There's your Paydex score is provided by Dun & Bradstreet. And in the past, your Paydex score was the golden pony of credit scores. As long as you had a Paydex score of 80 or higher, you were set. You could get money, you could get lending, you could get car leases, you could get anything you want with an 80 Paydex or higher. Guys, those days are gone, right? Those days are gone. All by myself. No, I should not be all by myself. Wait, where's David Ubita? David, I'm going to unmute you for a second.
Okay,
no,
I'm here.
There you go. You're here.
I am.
David, do you remember a time in the past when going to some of the, because I know you've been a seminar guy and stuff for a long time. Do you remember a time in the past when it was all about that Paydex score?
Yeah, that's the one component that most of the gurus try to convince business owners like us who didn't know any better at the time was the magic pill or the magic bullet.
Right. Well, let me tell you what happened. What happened was, first of all, it is not all about your Paydex score anymore. What happened, I'm going to take a drink here, guys. Give me 1 second. What happened was Dun & Bradstreet released this program that allows you to, I call it the PaytoPlay program. I don't really remember. They call it the business credit, some odd builder, something program. But basically what it does is it allows you to pay a fee in order to report your own credit. Now hear that. You can pay a fee and then report your own credit to Dun & Bradstreet. Now let's turn the tables and say that you're a lender. Now, David, if you're a lender, do you want credit that was reported by the borrower?
No, sir. It's like Wikipedia. You go in there and, type whatever you want.
You just nailed it. It's like Wikipedia. You go in there and you type in whatever you want. So I can list. So what would happen is I would tell Dun & Bradstreet that I have a phenomenal credit line with David's company. It's a $100,000 credit line. I've never missed a payment. And what they're going to do is they're going to call David to verify it. And then David says, absolutely. Yeah, no, he's got a great line of credit with us. Fantastic customer. Then David is going to call and let Dun & Bradstreet know that he has a fantastic credit line with Eric's company. They're going to call me to verify it. I'm going to go, absolutely. He's a great customer. Man, couldn't have any better than Dave. Now, both of those people now have bogus information on their business credit reports. And now, are you going to do that with any bad info? No, you're not going to turn in your own bad info. You're only going to turn in your own good info. So the reliability of those credit reports went down drastically. What happened was lots of lenders, especially cash lenders, people that are loaning real money, have started to pull away from Paydex because it's just not reliable. The biggest factor now is the business's Experian IntelliScore. The new score employs advanced statistical techniques and combines more than 800 commercial and owner variables, including trade line and collection information, recent credit inquiries, public filings, new account activity, and key financial ratios to provide clients with fast and accurate risk assessment. IntelliScore Plus also offers the ability to include up to 4 business owners or guarantors on one report, providing a more comprehensive view on a business with multiple owners. So what they're saying is that the IntelliScore and IntelliScore, or especially the IntelliScore Plus, merges the profiles of the business and up to 4 primary business guarantors, primary business owners. So if you have maybe a little ding or here or there on your credit profile, you are going to have to be careful which lenders you're working with, because some of them will pull your business's IntelliScore file, which will pull and combine your business profile with your personal credit profile. And we all sit around and we go, man, they shouldn't be able to do that. But then you need to turn around and take that stance from the lender's point of view and go, okay, we want real information. Dun & Bradstreet isn't providing us that. Experian small business risk score is, the IntelliScore is. So which one would you want to use? You're going to use the IntelliScore. That's why it's so important to go, yes, Paydex is extremely important, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. But your Experian IntelliScore, guys, is paramount to having true, legitimate, real business credit options open up to you. And you need it to be as strong as possible. Because if you have a couple of dings on your personal profile, then you're going to need a really great business profile to offset those. People need to understand that businesses absolutely use business credit. Pilot Travel Centers, they're based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. Trade Lines 153, they have an Experian credit score and they have a Profile Plus on file. Publix has 171 trade lines. They have a credit score on file and a Profile Plus on file. How about this one, guys? Walmart has 513 trade lines. Credit score, yes. Profile Plus, yes. The reason I showed you these was to kind of highlight the importance of utilizing business credit. Now, how much money does Walmart have in the bank? Walmart has plenty of cash reserves. Why do they need trade lines? And it's leverage. They're leveraging trade lines. They're leveraging credit to improve cash flow. You can improve cash flow, then you can get you've got anything you want. That's why, look at, they use trade lines 5 times higher than Publix, 5 times more, or 4 times more, however much it comes out to. Listen, this isn't a math webinar. Credit. They use way more trade lines. They leverage that credit on purpose. So all of these big companies are using business credit, and our small businesses aren't, and we're falling behind. And we're falling behind because we're not separating and using business credit. It's important. So why is DMV important? Well, I'll show you. A business credit profile is built like this. That was a pretty cool little animation, wasn't it? You know what? Let's watch it again. A business credit profile is built like this. They all stack on top of each other. Now, these bottom rung, those bottom 4 accounts, guys, those are absolute junk. Hear me out. They're junk. You don't want them. They're junk accounts. They're accounts that you would, like when you get started and you're building your business credit, and I say, hey, it's important that you go get this line, or it's important that you go get that line. And you go, Eric, I don't want that line. I go, okay, do you not want that line, or do you not want business credit? It's up to you. Okay, so these are junk accounts. Now, they're junk accounts, but they're easy to get, right? And they report to your business credit profile. So you're sitting there, you have to have something reporting. So you get these junk accounts. They're easy to get. All you have to have are things like we discussed in those first 9 steps. You got to have a website maybe, or you got to have your number listed in 411. You've got to have those things, but now you can get those bottom 4. Then you move up the next row, these here, these 3 lines across here. These down here are your net 30 accounts. Net 30, net 60, net 90, doesn't matter what you want to call them, but a net 30 account, to give you an idea, you get product or service, and then you have a set number of days to pay for that product or service, net 30. So within 30 days, all the money has to be back in the net, right? If you have a net 60 account, that just means that within 60 days, the service or the product that you purchase has to be paid for back to the vendor. Now you move up to these next ones. These are going to be what we call vendor lines. Vendor lines. Vendor lines of credit are lines of credit that only work at that store or at that location, right? These are going to be revolving type lines of credit, but you can kind of think about it. Imagine like a line of credit with Lowe's, right? It's a revolving line. It carries an interest rate. You got a minimum payment, so on and so forth. But you can only use it at Lowe's. That's a vendor line of credit. You move up here, you're going to start getting into your MasterCard and your Visa stores now, or Visa cards. Now, some of these will still be store cards. As an example, the Best Buy business card is a Best Buy card, and then quite often they convert it over to a MasterCard or Visa, so that then that card that you were only able to use at Best Buy then becomes a MasterCard or Visa, and you can use it anywhere. And then here at the top is your good old-fashioned cash bank type of lending, right? Now, you also, down here, even below these net 30 accounts, you also have like your alternative sources. Now, those are the ones that we talked about in the beginning, the alternative sources. Those are the ones that allow you to utilize things like equipment and cash flow financing, merchant financing, purchase order financing. All of those different things are available also. But there's a kind of an imaginary line, if you will, that runs right through there. These lines below, or these accounts that are below this line, those are the types of accounts that you're going to be able to see in 30 days over 6 months. These net 30 accounts you can start getting instantly. The vendor line is going to be 30, maybe 60 days. The MasterCards and Visas are going to take you about 6 months. These lines, you want to keep about 24 months in your head as an idea of a time frame. That's to where you're getting to real business lending, where a bank's just lending you cash. Now, don't get me wrong, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, those types of lines can still be used for lots of options, but when you want to get to the point of just old-fashioned taking cash and put it in your bank account, you want to keep in mind about 24 months to have a strong and legitimate business credit profile built. Now, here's the problem. It doesn't take 24 months to build it. The problem is it takes 6 months to build it and then 18 months to use it. I'm hoping that makes sense for everybody. If that just made sense, give me an amen in the chat line. I feel so alone without you guys chatting, but amen. Thanks, James. So the idea is it's only going to take 6 months to build a profile, guys, but then you need to sit and actually use it. You have to use that profile. You have to buy things. You have to pay for things. You have to show that you have to show usage. If you're not using the profile, then why does it even matter? They're going to look at it and go, oh, oh, look here. Yeah, Magic, he's got a whole line of credit over here with Staples, and he hasn't used it in 8 months, and he's never paid a payment. So why would I lend him money? It doesn't show any, it doesn't allow them to properly evaluate risk. That's what I'm trying to say. In order to properly evaluate risk, they need to see the analysis of how your profile is actually growing. If they can't see that, then they can't evaluate their risk, and if they can't evaluate their risk, they can't calculate a proper reward or a rate. What are they going to give you? They can't calculate those numbers because they don't know the risk. So what they're going to say is, since we can't calculate risk, then we're going to not take any risk. So we're going to give you 0. Or worse, they're going to say, so we'll give you a $500 credit card. Now, the reason that's worse, we'll talk about right now. We're going to start at the bottom, net 30 lines. So don't read at the top, or I'm sure you're going to read it, but that's fine. Go down to the bottom. Net 30 lines or net 60 or net 90 lines are short-term lines of credit usually granted from one business to another for a product or material purchase. These lines are simple to set up and can be obtained with only the requirements of the business credibility test. They're really simple. Unsecured vendor credit lines, these lines should not be applied for until the business credit report shows good payment history on the net 30 lines from below. Only then should you even consider applying for vendor lines without a personal guarantee. Think about that. Why? Well, what are these vendor lines going to use to associate risk or to calculate risk? They're going to use your payment history from the net 30 line. Then you're going to go up to the unsecured business credit it's not the top tier because of business funding, but it's the first tier that allows cash access on the credit lines you obtain. Things like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, stuff like that. You should only apply for these lines after you've shown a positive pay history on the vendor line from step 2. So you're going to build them up over time to create a nice, strong, structured profile. If you don't, then what's going to happen is you're going to get approved, and that's going to be the worst part, because you're going to get approved for a $500 credit card here, and you're going to get approved for a $500 credit card over there, and you're going to get approved for a $500 credit card over here. And what will happen is you will then, from that point forward, tell the lenders by your business credit profile what type of credit you're okay handling, and that's a $500 credit card. You get yourself stuck in this. Your business credit reports contain a suggested lending amount. There's actually a field on there that when the business pulls your business credit report, when a lender pulls your business credit report, they get a field that tells them how much the suggested lending amount would be. Now, let's say that you have 9 $500 credit cards. What's your suggested lending amount going to be? Guess what? $500. Wrap your head around it. So don't go apply for the other stuff until you do the first things. So you're going to set up your net 30 lines, you're going to get them in place, and you're going to actually use them. Then, once they're reporting, you're going to go to get unsecured vendor credit lines, and you're going to actually use them. You're going to buy some stuff, and you're going to pay it back, okay? Then, and only then, are you going to go apply for unsecured business credit. These are going to be like your Visas and MasterCards and stuff like that. Now, there's great credit, guys. There's great credit on those bottom 2 lines. Don't get me wrong. There are great credit lines. Unsecured vendor lines, you can get great lines with Dell. You can get great lines with Apple. You can get great lines with Home Depot and Lowe's. And you can get great lines with Sears. And you can get great lines with tons of different companies that allow you to get things that you really want and really need. So don't discount the unsecured vendor lines. And then on net 30 lines, guys, I admit there's not a lot of really great net 30 lines out there, but there are some that you can use. If you are using, let's say you're using office supplies and you get a net 30 line with Quill, or you get a net 30 line with Granger. So there's a couple of different ones out there that people use on a regular basis. But for the most part, you're going to have to get some stuff that you don't really want. But remember, you're doing that for a strategic business reason, and that business reason is so that you can separate your personal credit. So those of you that have good personal credit, you need business credit the most. The problem is people think, well, I don't need business credit because I've got good personal credit. No, 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 no. You need business credit far more than the person who has bad personal credit. Your thinking is that, well, I've got good, the bad personal credit person says, well, I'm going to use business as a way to really sneak in some personal credit stuff. That's not the best bet. The good credit person thinks that they can just finance whatever they want, but then they do that. And when they do that, all of a sudden they use that financing, and then they tank that good personal credit profile. So those of you that have good personal credit, you need this the most, I assure you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to back up 1 second. I'm going to take a couple of questions real quick, and then get ready for it. I'm going to take the last 5 minutes and try to sell you something because of, capitalism. So if that's okay with you guys, what I would like to do is answer just a couple of questions about your business credit building, and then I'm going to go through the entire process. But when I go through the entire process, I'm going to do it inside of a product that we offer. Now, the great thing about this webinar format is you're going to be able to watch us walk through the product so you get a full demo of what it does and how powerful it is. And then the last couple of minutes, I'm going to let you know how much it costs to buy that thing if you want it. And if you don't, that's still cool. I'm still going to come out to Chicago and see you guys. And I'm still going to come out to, Salt Lake next week and see you guys. So here we go. This is right now. Home Depot doesn't do business credit without personal guarantee unless business is over 2 years. That's perfectly great. You are absolutely correct. Home Depot doesn't do business credit without personal guarantee unless the business is over 2 years. We're talking about different lines. The requirements from over 2,000 lenders are built into the system. Lenovo, where are you from, if you don't mind me asking? New York. Awesome. There's lots of lists out there that show like, oh, this company offers credit at this company offers credit at this company offers credit here. So there are lists out there that show Home Depot, doesn't do business credit without a PG unless the business is over 2 years. There's lots of lists out there. So there's thousands of lenders that the requirements are built into the system. All right. You bet. Absolutely. There's literally, our product has 30 programs, 30 funding programs with over 2,000 lending sources built into it. So cash flow financing built in, unsecured financing built in, equipment financing built in, vehicle wrap lease lending. A lot of you guys know the power of utilizing vehicle wraps and how that can provide some pretty good tax benefits, things like that. There's lots of options out there, and the majority of them, as far as I know, I don't know of anything that's out there that's not built in to the system. It's over 2,000 lenders. So, all right, here you go. Basically, when you walk through the business credit profile builder, it is going to start you here. You're going to go start here, business credit builder. It's got videos that you're going to watch that are going to, just like I've kind of done today, some of the things that you're going to see, we are recording, guys, absolutely. Mark, to be in business 2 years, when is the date when I incorporate, when I open that 30 account? Now, it's definitely not when you say, because it's too easy to check on those things. It's from the date that your business is incorporated. So from the time that you file and own a business, according to the state, is when your business becomes that age. It's when your business is born. Now, when you open that 30 accounts, that's when your business credit profile is going to start, but that's not necessarily when your business is going to show as having been opened. All right. So as you walk through this, you're going to see business entity. We're going to show you how to properly set that up to have the right entity for you to obtain funding. Business name and address, phone and 411. These are those things that we talked about, right? These are those things that allow you to properly set up your business and walk through that step-by-step process so that by the time you apply, you're already in a place that allows you to be approved. Instead of going out and applying all over the place, getting a lot of declines, getting frustrated, thinking business credit doesn't work because you skipped the vast majority of the first steps. So it's a lot of learning, guys. This is a really step-by-step learning tool with a lot of videos built in. I assure you that once I've walked through this, I'll be glad to answer any questions. So there's nothing held back on this webinar tonight. As you all know, just like in my personal credit classes, any question gets answered. But there's a lot of information in here. It talks about how Dun & Bradstreet works, how to get the accounts reported. It talks about how your business Experian works and how to get accounts reported, how your business Equifax score works and how to get those. If you do happen to have some inaccuracies on your business credit, how to repair that, the different types of accounts, so on and so forth. It does have access built into your Experian trade line request. So you can put in your own information here, and you could type out, your business and your address, and then refresh result, and you will be able to see if you have an Experian Business Information Service profile. What's great is you can also check out any other company because you do not have the protection to your business credit profile that you have on your personal credit profile. So you can check out any company you want. I'm going to walk you through how the accounts report. It's different than on personal. The accounts report, they can report some additional information. They can report, there's certain things they don't report. You have to remember that when you hear all of those FCRA things and the FDCPA, and a lot of those laws are built to protect individuals and not your company. It's not built to protect companies. So some of the protections and privacies that you have as an individual, you do not have as a company. Here's another one. Your account, like your business credit account. If you have a personal account, you have protections that allow you to, like for instance, if I go into my bank and I have a disputed charge on my bank account, I can go in and I go, I dispute this charge. They will immediately pull it off and then do the investigation. On a business account, they will usually do the investigation And then if it happens to turn out to be in your favor, then they will remove the charge. But it doesn't happen automatically because you don't have quite the same protections in your business as you have in your personal file. Really, this is just a lot of, more of the same. Monitor your business reports. You can monitor Dun & Bradstreet through here, read your DMV report, monitor your business Experian, your business Equifax, get your credit report dashboard. It's all built in so that you can have it all in one place. And you notice it's step 4 before you ever start building credit. That's the number one takeaway from this webinar, guys. It is step 4 before you ever start applying for credit. Because the minute you start applying, you need to have had things in place already, right? So we're going to skip on down a little bit. All right, let's say, here we go. We're going to go through the videos, and then you're going to go through some starter vendors. There's tons of them in here. This one shows Labor Ready, Granger, Industrial Supply, Medex Supply. You're going to try to find things that might fit your business. There's lots of stuff in here, but if you can't find something that fits your business, then you need to pick something, and that sucks. I don't know if I'm allowed to say sucks on a webinar, but I just said it twice. If you can't find something that fits your business, pick something, and pick something you might maybe need at home. I don't know, because you're going to have to use it, and you're going to have to pay it back. So you're going to start with those starter vendors. When you click on one, it's going to actually bring up as like Lenovo over here. I don't know if that's a name or if that's is that your name? But anyway, it's going to bring up a description of that company and then what it takes to qualify. As an example, to qualify for a line of credit they do a net 7, so it's a week. You get a week out, but it's providing labor. So imagine being able to, if you had laborers come out, that you then had an extra week to pay. Some might come in pretty handy on a flip project when you're getting close to those final week before you get it on the market, things like that. Those are options for people to have. You see that in order to qualify, all you need is an entity and an EIN. How great is that? You'll complete the form. You'll receive a notification about your application within 2 business days. It's very easy to get approved. No personal guarantee, right? Really simple. Now, you've got like Uline. Description. Uline is a leading distributor of shipping, industrial, and packing materials. You must have a DUNS number to get your necessary terms. Credit will depend on your business credit report, trade, and bank references. You're required to offer 2 trade references and 1 bank reference. Now, trade references are really simple. You want to know 1 trade reference? How about the line of credit that you just set up 1 slide ago with Labor Ready? That's a trade reference. You now have a trade reference with them, okay? It's really simple. You just have to do the steps in order. So 2 trade references and a bank reference. So if you have those things, if there's little to no credit history, you may be required to prepay for your first couple of orders before they'll set up a net 30. But think about that, guys. You bought a couple of things, you spent $50 or whatever, and then the next time you order, they give you a net 30 account, which now reports to your business credit profile. To apply, all you're going to do is add an item to your cart, you're going to check out, you're going to open an account, and then you're going to select invoice. They will then notify you whether you got it or not. There's a little error when I was putting this together there that says Quill. Uline and Quill are basically the same. Quill is just another office supply provider, but it's the same option. You go in, you add an item to your cart, you check out, you open an account, you select to be invoiced, and then they'll let you know if you're pre-approved for net 30 terms. It's really easy to get these lines of credit, and these lines of credit, this one reports to Experian and D&B, the 2 most important ones. So when you have those, the reason that all those first steps were so important was because they are the types of steps that get you this stuff. And then these types of accounts then report to Dun & Bradstreet and Experian to be able to get you somewhat better accounts. So you move on down, moving on down to some of your trade accounts. Guys, these are like gas cards, ExxonMobil, Global, Conoco, things like that. These allow you to get credit with vendors, okay? Now, the thing about these is you're only able to use them in certain places. I'll tell you, I know for a fact Amazon.com will issue you a business credit account, extremely low requirements. So the idea, Tiger Direct, Staples, guys, these are the places where you start getting to something that you might want. I know a lot of you guys, for Lowe's, that would be a great line. Sherwin-Williams, you're doing fix and flips and things, great line. Amazon, what can't you buy on Amazon? Great line. CompUSA, Tiger Direct, Staples, there's lots of stuff out there. When you get to those points, you're going to apply for them by knowing the requirements of that lender before applying. So that's kind of the big bonus there. Here's an example. Racetrack. You're going to need an EIN, a DUNS number, a paydex score of 78 or higher. They prefer 3 years in business, a business entity, and your business phone listed in 411. So if you don't have those things, don't apply. It's that simple. Because you don't want, just like on your personal credit, you don't want a bunch of inquiries going on there. And inquiries aren't the same on your business credit profile, but hear me out. You don't want a bunch of checks on your business credit profile and then those being declined accounts, right? They're actually going to check with your Secretary of State and check your business address and phone with 411 to make sure you are squared away in that area. That's what they're going to require. If you don't have those things, then don't apply for that account yet. Now, minus the 3 years in business, which is not a full requirement, that's just a preference. All of the rest of those things, guys, business phone listed, business entity, paydex score, DUNS, and EIN, guys, that's 30 days. You can have all of that stuff set up, including the paydex score. Some more. Here's some more of those. Sears, BP, Chevron, Lowe's, Dell, Amazon again, because I put that in there apparently twice. Walmart, Home Depot, TSC Tractor Supply. There's lots of them out there, right? Once you've gone through that stuff, then you're going to sketch for a little bit. Thanks, James. You got it. And sorry, Yvonne, if I lost you there, but I hope you jump back on. But once you've completed those 6 steps, that's when you need to start thinking like a lender. Put yourself in their shoes, and you want to do your business blueprint, right? Think about how much are you going to want? How soon do you need it? How will you use that, right? You're going to finish these questions, and we are going to build you a blueprint, a business finance blueprint. What that's going to do is allow you to know what you have to do. Will, you actually just nailed a good question. What if you don't know your paydex? D&B charges $500 to complete the credit profile for you. What we do for you, they actually charge $7.99 for, or I think it's $7.99 for, and it's included in this process. So you'll see what I'm talking about. We go through this finance blueprint, and you're able to actually upload the stuff for one of our finance counselors to go over and find you that money. You're actually going to be uploading your business's bank statements. You can attach personal credit report if you're willing to utilize some personal guarantee, right? Those steps are what really sets this process apart from the do-it-yourself guys, and it's basically the fact that you're able to have a finance coach on your staff. Now, when I hit you guys with this number, remember, this is a webinar, and it's going to get lower, but this is our retail price for this. We build out your finance blueprint for you. Largest supply of vendor credit lines available anywhere. Get your first credit lines as soon as your first day. Access cash credit in as little as 4 to 6 months. Over 30 funding programs with 200 lending sources. 6 months of one-on-one coaching. Unlimited access to your online suite. And guys, that's what we just walked through. That's your online suite. The great thing about it is I can do a business credit training by walking through the suite, because it's every step that you need to know along the way. You see, business foundation, we talked about that. You have to have a strong business foundation. You have to have your licensing in place. You have to have your website. You have to have those things. Establishing business credit reports, right? Monitoring those credit reports. You can do that through the system. Start building credit on those very low accounts and then work your way up. Advanced building is when you start going through your higher end accounts, and then thinking like lenders, where you try to figure out which lenders will lend to you based upon what you have available. And when you get to that point, you realize that finding money isn't as hard as you thought it was going to be, right? So $49.97 is what we usually, that's the retail price for that. So we are also going to give you some bonuses, and then I'm going to shoot you a better price. And I hope you like it. And if you don't, then that's cool. And this is the super hard sell, so get ready for it. We are going to provide an ebook, 9 Devastating Mistakes to Avoid When Funding Your Business. If you've been on Mark Kohler's webinar where he has me on to discuss business credit, this is the ebook that we always give away on there. If you already have it, you know that it's extremely informative. Webinars, weekly business credit webinar at no extra cost. These are only for people that have purchased. This is not something that we do. I don't usually do these out loud. You know, these are usually, this is the first time I've ever done one just for the public. Business credit weekly coaching webinars at no extra cost. Experian data, you get to access and monitor your Experian data right through our system. That's a $600 value. That's what Experian charges you if you do it through them. Free DUNS number will help you set up your DUNS number at no cost to you and build out your profile. That's a $7.99 value. And a free audit of your personal credit from CreditNerds.com. So what we do is we're going to make sure that if you happen to have the type of credit that allows you to personally guarantee, then we're going to allow you to do that safely by utilizing accounts that aren't going to report to your personal credit, by utilizing accounts that aren't going to drag down your utilization and make you look like you are far overwhelmed in debt. So that's the bonuses. And we also guarantee you'll get at least $50,000 in real usable credit or financing in 12 months or less, or you keep your coach until you do, period. When I say keep your coach, our service allows for, you get a phone number. You don't actually get an email. When you've got a question, you just call in, and a person answers the phone. I know that sounds crazy in today's world, but a person's going to answer the phone, and they're going to actually pull up your file, and then we're going to work with you. So that's one-on-one coaching that you actually receive in our process. So we build out your finance blueprint for you. The largest supply of vendor credit lines anywhere available. You get your first credit line as soon as your first day, access cash credit in as little as 4 to 6 months, over 30 funding programs with 2,000 lending sources, 6 months of one-on-one coaching, and unlimited access to your online suite. To give you an idea, guys, over my goal for this year, just in the Renata organization, is to fund out over $1 million a month. Now, we're doing that, the majority of that on the personal side. Guys, the amount of money that's funded out through business loans, utilizing business credit profiles, is enormous. Far higher and easier to fund businesses than it is to fund individuals. So, where you're at with that, $27.95, and there's some financing options available if you want somebody to have, yes, Tina, I'm going to get back to my close here, but I'm going to answer questions because that's what I love doing the best. We got a message from D&B saying they needed more information on us. Do you know what that's about and what to do? Absolutely. First of all, you didn't get a message from D&B. You got a message from Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corp., which is a separate company. They're a marketing company that sells Dun & Bradstreet products. They're not Dun & Bradstreet. They are Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corp. They're going to get you on the phone, and then they're going to say, hey, for $500, we'll set up your DUNS number for you, right? We'll tell me, give me a yes if that's right. For $500, they're going to say, hey, for $500, we will set up your DUNS number. What's going to happen is when they're doing those things, they are taking a cut of that money and then turning you over. There it is. Yes. They're then turning that purchase over to Dun & Bradstreet, but Dun & Bradstreet and Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corp. Are two different companies. Keep that in mind. One of them is a huge marketing company that just sells the products of the other. I got a private question. What would you like to see in terms of monthly minimum income before attempting to get business credit? I don't really care about income necessarily on business credit. Really, there is business credit and business funding and business financing, right? The business credit stuff, that's really like your, that tends to lend more toward your net 30 accounts and your vendor accounts and stuff like that. When you start getting up into the credit options, then that's when income is going to start playing a part into that. Now, the only difference, income matters, but it doesn't. But the reason it does matter is because it's going to factor into your limit. It's not really as much going to factor into your approval as much as it's going to factor into the limit that you're going to get, if that makes sense. So a person whose business only makes $1,000 a month isn't going to get $100,000 in unsecured funding. That doesn't make any sense. So if your business only makes $1,000 a month, your average payment on unsecured funding tends to run between 1% to 2%. So your average minimum payment on $100,000 worth of credit is going to be $1,000 to $2,000 a month. There's no way that your business could support that type of payment. Therefore, the likelihood of you getting approved is 0. So it's not really about the approval or the decline. It's more about the limit that you're going to get. Awesome. Guys, the business credit program, we've got some really great success stories from people in the community that have used it. Multiple, top tier types of people have used our business credit program, and our customers of ours, they have always great things to say about it. If you would like to purchase and become a customer, and you would like to have somebody build that business credit program for you, like I said, we do have some financing options available for that. What I would like you to do, you can either send me a private message on here. You don't have to, raise your hand or anything like that. You don't have to run to the back of the room. But if you want to send me a message or whatever, we can kind of get you locked in on the price and then get you somebody out to talk to you about the options that are available for payment, the payment options that are available. And we will assure you make it affordable. Our goal is to help people understand and grow business credit. It's something that we really need to focus on as small businesses, especially in our community that we all have kind of grown to love. We have to help each other grow these profiles, because this is what allows for the success of the business. David, are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you got you? We're back? All right. You talk to a lot of people. We've put multiple people we put multiple people through this program. You talk to a lot of those. Most of those have talked to you in that process. What's something that I should add? I mean, what are some of the questions that people ask you? Anything that I can provide a better understanding for in the last few minutes before we jump off here? Uh-oh, we might have lost David again. I know David was having a little bit of a connection problem, and we'll make sure to get to that. But if you guys have any questions about how to build and grow your business credit profile, the answer is this: start small. Do not.
Eric?
Yes.
All right, sorry, buddy. I lost you. I lost you when you asked me when you said we put multiple people through, and then my phone cut off. Sorry.
Absolutely. No, my question for you, David, was did I miss anything that a lot of people are asking about? Did I miss something that would allow me to better explain anything? I'm not getting a lot of questions on this, and so I'm seeing a lot of names that are still here, and I'm not seeing too many questions. So how can I expand to provide you guys as much knowledge about this subject as possible, so that you feel like you've learned? Do you have any questions that people ask you when you're talking to them about the business finance suite?
Yeah. Well, first of all, your presentation was very thorough as always, and some of this stuff is kind of hard to absorb. So I would assume that a lot of the people in attendance are kind of shell shocked by all the information that you've given them, because it's not. They don't teach this in college, and as a former university professor, I can tell you firsthand, we don't teach this in college. So the insight that you provided was obviously important. I think the couple of questions or obstacles that I run into when I have this conversation is, number one, just like any other business owner would want to know, how am I going to make my money back? Okay, so first and foremost, this $27.95 dollar amount is tax deductible for your business. So that's 100% on your money right there. Number two, there's a $50,000 guarantee in place, which is 200% on your money right there. And more importantly, in order for us to execute that 50K, we have coaches in place to ensure that our guarantee is met. So the bottom line is, I think in most cases, it's just people trying to understand and absorb that this is a potential solution for their problem, which is a lack of capital. Now, the truth is, I've never seen as many bonuses that you've thrown in today, which is blowing me away right now. So I am super excited for every single person on the webinar tonight that plugs in. So I know we are super flexible. We are trying to help as many, people within our community as possible, which is not the norm because the general public, usually pays, the full retail price. So the fact that everyone on the webinar has access to this price with the bonuses is blowing me right now. So that's the best, that's my feedback right now. And if anyone does have questions, please, by all means. Matter of fact, I think there was one by Mark that we missed, which is to be in business for 2 years, when is the date? When I incorporate, when I open a Net 30 account, what should I say?
I lost you for just a second. We actually did get to that. You're going to be basing that upon the date that you opened your business. However, the age of your business credit profile will also factor in there. So your age of your business is, of course, the time that you opened it. But the longer that you've had accounts showing, then by far the better your business credit profile is going to be. So the answer, Mark, is both. The longer for both. But your business actually becomes a business, and the age of your business is from the time that you created your business. You absolutely can get a DMV number for free, Mark. They always try to upsell you. The reason is because you're not on the, kind of again, like the question before, you're not on the phone with Dun & Bradstreet. You're on the phone with Dun & Bradstreet Credibility Corp, and they are a marketing company. They sell products. That's all they do, right? So they're going to try to upsell you over and over and over and over and over. There's no reason, zero reason to pay for a DUNS number, ever. Now, I also want to point this out, just to be completely transparent. When we say free DUNS number, I'm not taking your price and then funneling some of that money over to get you a DUNS number. We just get you a DUNS number for free because there's no reason to pay for one. There's no reason to pay for a DUNS number. Think about it like this. Imagine that you went to the doctor and they said, well, it's gonna be $200, but we're also gonna need $50 extra to set you up an account number. You go, what? Yeah, it's $200 to see the doctor, but it's $50 to set up your account number. And you're gonna go, well, why don't you? I don't want that. And they're gonna go, well, you really, it's important to have an account number. And you go, well, I don't want that. And then they go, okay, well, I guess we're just going to assign you one because you have to have one. The DUNS number, that's what they use to identify your business in their system. You're going to get assigned one. Why would you pay to get an account number? Makes no sense. Tool to see where your business stands today. There's one inside the suite. When you get in there, you can not only see your business, but you can also see any other business that you want to take a peek at. So that comes in pretty handy. We also have some tools built inside to monitor your profile. If you aren't a member, if you're not going to purchase the suite, and that's perfectly fine, I want to give you the same amount of knowledge. I would use something like I would use Creditera. See, I'm going to put it in the chat here. Creditera. That one allows you to create 2007. Let's see, partner. Does that count for timing? I'm having trouble really understanding what you're saying there. So I'm going to finish up my other question, and then we'll come back to that, Tina. Just one second. Creditera allows you to monitor your DMV report, your Experian business report, and your personal Equifax and your personal Experian and TransUnion profiles. So it kind of brings that all into one place. It's pretty expensive, but it's the only one that I really kind of recommend, and I think it's like $100 a month for the full package. Now they've got one that's a little less, but you don't get everything. So for the full package of business and personal, I think it's like $100 a month. Don't quote me on that because it's not my company. For you, Tina, we created in 2007 incorporation, and then you added an LLC per partner. So you're incorporated, but then each partner also has an LLC. Am I getting that right? Maybe? Maybe not. Yes. Okay. Then yes, that counts for the age of your business, absolutely. If that's the business that you're wanting to fund. Now, where some people get in trouble is they go, oh, well, I've got a company that's been in business for 8 years now. And I go, great, let's get it some funding. And then they go, no, I wanted to fund the other one, though. So you need to remember you're funding the business that has had the length of history on it. All right. Guys, I know my hour webinar is now at 1 hour and 25 minutes, and I want to apologize. I hope that has everybody, has everybody learned something today? Has everybody got a better grasp on what business credit is, how it works? Paul, you absolutely can fund multiple businesses at the same time. You actually just discussed one of the ways to offset the cost is because through this process, you're learning the process. So it's not us funding the process for you, you're learning the process. So you can then turn right back around and fund your next business. And then you can fund your next business. And then you can fund your next business.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Dave.
A quick question. People who are interested in plugging in, what would the next step be for them?
If people were interested in hearing more about the Business Credit Builder and some of the options for payments and things like that, then they can, if they want to send me a private message on here, I'll make sure that they get reached out to. It'll probably honestly be David that reaches out to you guys. He's really great at understanding how the funding suite works and showing it to people. If you would like that, shoot me a message on here, or you can simply call the office, 877, I'll put that in the chat here also, 877-614-6373. If you call into the office, you're going to get Karen, most likely. When you get Karen will be able to take down some information and make sure that somebody gets to call you as soon as possible. David usually gets back to our people very, very quickly if they need anything. Alfredine, I said to start small. The number one thing to take away from this is to start small. 877. How did I not put? You know what? How about this? How about we just put it right here? 877-614-6373. Delete. There we go.
Okay, Eric?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to acknowledge Quentin's comment while you're doing that about a real paradigm shift, and it's the truth, man, because Quentin, you have no idea. Remember, only 9% of entrepreneurs are actually practicing this, leaving the other 90 and change trying to figure out how they're going to stay afloat the next month. Are they going to continue to drain their life savings? Are they going to continue to ask their family members for money? Are they going to continue to drain their retirement accounts? So if these big billion-dollar companies are leveraging the whole concept of creating credit, then why aren't we as small business owners? And just to give you guys some context, Walmart cleared over $492 billion last year in revenue. So they are still still utilizing their lines of credit. So at this point, we're here just to provide a solution, man. It's that simple.
Absolutely. I'll continue to finish my question or my answer there. Starting small means starting with the right types of accounts and working and getting the new accounts in the right order. So basically, you don't want to jump out and try to go get a Amex as your first business credit line and say, all right, I want a $20,000 Amex as my first business credit line. The problem is you're going to have one of two things happen. You're either going to get declined, which is bad, or you're going to get approved, which is worse, because you're going to get approved for a very small limit. You're going to start tying yourself to small limit credit cards. We all have seen people or know people that get stuck in that $500 credit card circle, right? And then they get excited because they got a $700 credit card or a $750 credit card, when other people are coming in and getting $10,000 and $15,000 lines and $20,000 lines. And this guy's over here with a better credit score getting $500 credit cards. And the reason is because they tie themselves to a limit. They get a suggested limit based upon their previous activity. And if that happens, it's tough to break. You've got to start, there's some tricks to get around it, but you've got to start working very, very hard to get out of that rut. Okay, if everybody feels like they have learned something,
hey, Eric.
Yeah.
Got a question for you.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a Granger account and I have a couple other accounts, but I don't want to get into the whole throwing money away to establish the business credit. So that's when I'm kind of leery, like I don't want to just buy a 1,000 or something I need just to sit in the garage, because at what point are you trying to build the credit but kind of wasting money at the same time?
It depends on what you consider. Of course, Chris. Yeah. No, absolutely. This is absolutely. Okay. Was that Joe Bond? Who asked me that question? Will? All right, I'm going to assume it was Will.
Yes, that was me, Will.
All right, okay, great.
Yep.
So, Will, the answer to your question lies in what you consider value, right? I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and because we were talking about money versus opportunity cost. And you look at something and you go, hey, I've got this loan, right? Will, I've got a loan for you. I'll give you $100,000. It's 100% interest. So that means in 1 year you have to pay me back $200,000. Are you in? 100% interest. What do you think? You in? So, real question. You in? It's 100% interest.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. My phone went out there. If I got to pay that 100% interest, there's no way
There's no way. You said I'm out, right? The problem,
I'm out.
And this is going to come respectfully, okay? The problem is that's not how you make decisions. You make decisions using the entire volume of information to you. You would have said, well, what's my return? This is going to sound like I'm talking down to people. I'm not. It's just if you've been to any of the Renatus events, then you understand exactly where I'm coming from, where you're shifting your mind from poor people speak to wealthy people speak, right? What you should have asked me, Will, was what's my return? What am I doing with the money? Well, you've got this project that you can do that it's going to cost you $100,000, but in 1 year you're going to have cleared $500,000. Now it's going to cost you the $100,000 plus another to me, but you netted $300,000. You're telling me you're out? I can tell you, I don't really care what something costs. I care what it does for my future, for my business, for my finances. So I will tell you, you absolutely have to utilize like those Granger accounts. You have to utilize that stuff. And it kind of sucks. Like I said, kind of sucks. But just keep in mind that it's beyond the cost. It's about the return. What are you getting in return? So just sitting on the account, you're not going to get anything. Utilizing them and then moving on to your second tier accounts and then utilizing those and then moving on to your third tier accounts and utilizing those, that's when you're able to actually see a return. As far as return goes, right now we've got this thing at about, you know, I'm going to actually bump it up and call it $3,000 for my math, but it's less than that. But $3,000 with a $50,000 guarantee. Mark, that depends on. So you're talking about a pretty good return on investment between between those two types of costs. But yes, there is additional cost of utilizing the account and making sure that that things that you purchase report. Usually it's about $30. That does depend on the different companies. So $30 to $50 that you need to purchase and then pay back, usually to get things reported to D&B and Experian. You bet. So what I am going to do is I am going to export the list, and I'll send everybody an email. In the email is just going to be, just a little bit of information about our product. And if you want it, then we would love for you to have it. And again, if you don't want it, I don't want to see you at an event. You sneak by me because you didn't buy my product. I still want you to come up and ask me your questions and still talk with you and provide you any type of assistance that I just really can. So I appreciate you guys. I'm going to be here. I'm going to wait just another few minutes. You guys, as far as I'm concerned, the webinar is complete. David, did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Just wanted to thank everyone for showing up tonight and hanging out. And, of course, thank you for taking the time to do all this. It was not a 5-minute preparation. It took time out of your busy schedule to make it happen. So, again, thanks, everyone, and thank you.
Paul, I absolutely will get you the recording. We're not recording this final part. The last 8 minutes have not been recording. My recording timed out, but all of the main part of the webinar was recorded. So I'll be glad to get you the recording to this.
That works out. Oh, Eric, one more question for you.
Sure.
Okay, so now my struggle is I work construction, so we have highs and we have lows. So like I use Granger for a perfect example. I do have a Granger account, but I do have another account who reports to Dun & Bradstreet, but they give it to me. No, I'm sorry, they do not. But I get materials for them at a lower cost. So that's when I hear the things like, well, use the Granger. I can, but it's like, why would I pay $20 for something when I can get the exact same thing for, let's say, $5? That's where I kind of struggle with building a business is, and I know the return on it, I'm going to use it, but I don't want to just buy it in bulk just to have it sit in my garage, and I may use it over 5 years versus something I can just burn through in like 6 months,
Right. I understand that completely. If it's something like the difference of why would I buy something for $20 when I can get it for $5, I get you. I understand that. You need to think about what you're buying. If you're buying that product, great. Buy it at the lower cost, right? If you're buying your business credit profile, you need to consider that you paid $5 for the, I'm going to say hammer, okay? You paid $5 for the hammer, and you paid $15 for it to report to your credit. You didn't pay $20 for the hammer. You paid $5 for the hammer, just like you would have got it over there. But for an extra $15, you reported it to your business credit profile. So you have to pull yourself away from, the cost of the item. You have to evaluate the cost of the credit profile. What is building the credit profile worth? How much is that worth? If that's worth enough for you to buy your products at the place that reports, then you just think about it that way. You don't think about it that you paid $20 for a hammer. Think about it as you paid $5 for the hammer and $15 to get them to report it.
I got you. Okay, I got you.
So,
Thanks a lot, man.
Now, if you're talking about thousands of dollars, on a different, if you're talking about a large amount of money for something to report versus not, don't get me wrong, your business has to stay in business. But if it's a negligible amount of money, I say get the product that allows it to report, because the business credit profile being strong is going to be far more valuable than the $15 that you paid.
I got you. I get that standpoint. I get that standpoint too, because I can always just buy one from Granger and the rest from whoever else. So I get that too. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. Thanks a lot,
Absolutely.
man. I enjoyed the
You bet.
presentation too.
Absolutely, man. That's what we're here for. All right, guys. Like I said, you guys are welcome to start hopping off at any time you want. Thank you so much for coming out to this first business credit webinar. If you've learned things, then I hope you've learned things. If you didn't, then you know what? I'll come to your business credit webinar. But as far as I'm concerned, like I said, you guys are more than welcome to leave. I am actually going to stick around for a few minutes in case anybody wants to ask any more questions. But if you don't have a question, feel free to jump off, and you'll get an email from me pretty soon after this, thanking you for coming out, and then letting you know that if you are interested at all in that business credit package, that we have lots of different options available to cover the cost. So. You got it, Will. I'll get that out to you. Thank you, Mario. I appreciate that. Good night, Myrna.
Myrna, she's a piece of work, boy.
James, I'll get it out to you, buddy. Thank you.
Hey, Eric?
Yep.
Hey, my name is Tabby. I was brought on by David. So thank you, David, if you're still there. I'm just on my phone. I can't actually see your screen or anything.
Hey, Tabby, how are you?
Hey, thanks for inviting me. I've been plugged in on my phone during my drive to work here. So thank you.
Awesome.
There's a lot of good information here, but for myself, I feel like it's a little bit above my head. I just started in the Renata program and learning about businesses and businesses is, I feel like it's a little bit over my head. What would you say to someone at my level? I don't own a business or anything like that at this time. What type of information would be valuable to me starting at the beginning of my life?
I have some absolutely great and invaluable information for you. Did you say you just got started with Renata?
Yes, I just started this week.
Okay. Do you own your essentials?
Pardon me?
Do you own your essentials classes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What you are going to do is you are going to get into your essentials and you are going to watch Tax and Legal 1, and then you're going to watch Tax and Legal 2. And then you are going to kick yourself for not owning a business. And then David and I are going to run behind and we're going to kick you a little bit also. Sometimes you need somebody to kick you. You know what I mean? You just, every now and then you need somebody to just kick you and say, hey, go start a business. What I would like you to then do is, if you think you don't need a business, I would like you to find any successful person who doesn't own one.
I would love to have a business. I'm not quite sure, what business to start or what to invest in and how to do that. And I feel that the Renata's program will really help me come to terms with that and realize that and figure out how to go about.
I don't care what your business is going to do or what it's not going to do or whether you think you're going to sell like a product or a service. That's not what I'm talking about. I said start a business. Just the tax implications from starting a business will allow you to recoup the costs of your essentials. I can't say guaranteed. I can't. I'm not a big guaranteed guy unless it's something that I can control, right? But I assure you, I have seen over and over and over simply what you learn in the tax and legal classes, recouping your costs, not only the essentials for some people, but Mark Kohler is going to be doing all of my taxes this year. I own a business. He's saving me a ridiculous amount of money by properly managing how you can write things off of your business. As an example, if you owned a business, you could purchase this product, and instead of having to learn what to do to start your business credit profile, we could do that for you, and then you can write off this. You can write this off, right? So the cost to you kind of comes down to zero. It's written off as a business expense. But the idea is get the business started. If you start a business today and it says that did you say your name was Abby maybe? I missed your name, my apologies.
Tabby, short for Tabitha.
Tabby, got it. So if you wanted to call your business Tabby Enterprises, right? It can be anything you want. It doesn't matter what it does, because next week your business might change what it does. What I'm telling you to do is start a business. Own a business. Own an entity. Because as soon as you own an entity, a world of opportunities open up for you.
There's a lot of other things you have to put into place to own a business. I'm guessing to be able to start that, I wouldn't be able to just search days.
We're discussing right now. I use the word business at the beginning. I'm talking about business bank accounts and all these things and all this stuff. Right now, I'm talking about the financial implications of a business. It requires, starting an entity. I don't know what the filing fees are in Illinois. It can't cost more than a couple $100. David, do you know how much it starts or how much it costs to create an entity in Illinois, or anybody on the line?
Everything's about less than $250.
Yeah. Because we're talking about the financial and tax implications right now, Tabby. We're not talking about the credit implications. We're talking about, there you go. See Perrin Wetzel. If you're from Chicago, talk to Perrin Wetzel in the Chicago office, so he can get you set up in no time.
Yeah, I like to know that too. I'm not meaning to chime in, but when I was getting ready to incorporate in Illinois, by the time I got through with the Secretary of State, it was almost $750 to $1,000. So state line went to Indiana.
That you set up in Indiana, you said, Will?
Yes, I did. I went LLC in Indiana. I think I was up and running for around $150 versus the minimum I heard in Illinois was like $750.
Oh wow. I would still see Perrin, because the number that I've got is some stuff that I've heard him quoted, so it may come down to the type of business or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Just do your homework. Yes.
Perrin Wetzel is kind of the local, entity guru, so to speak. He's the guy that's going to know exactly the type of business that fits what you're going to want to do for your tax purposes. So, and he can get you set up super fast. Jason did an Indiana S Corp, which is going to cost a little more than an LLC, and his was $400. So it's just not that expensive to set up a business, and it'll save you just ridiculous amounts of money. The problem is people are still kind of looking at cost versus, versus investment. What are you going to get back? I don't care I could not care less what something costs as long as I get my money back plus some.
Agreed.
So Tabby, start a business. Go for it. Start a business. That would be everybody's first step to anything. When people come up to me and they say, Eric, what am I doing wrong? How can I grow? I see you being successful, and I see you having, these this great house and these things, and hey, you're doing so well. What changed all that? Guys, I started a business. That was the number one step that I took that moved me from, I assure you, I was more poor than you. I assure you, no matter who you are on this line, I've probably been more poor than you, to not being. And that's what it was. I started a business, and I realized some of the options that are available to business owners. Most people that write the laws, most people that make the rules are business owners, and they write the laws and make the rules to protect themselves. And if you know the rules, then you get to play their game. And when you get to play their game, you get to play by their rules. And if you're playing by their rules, then the rules are in their favor. And that means the rules are in your favor. And if you want to be on the right side of the rules, open a business. All right, guys. I am kind of amazed at the 21 people still sitting here listening to me ramble on. Just amazed. Go to sleep or something. Some of you guys I know are. No, Sandy, it was so good to see you yesterday too, or the day before. But guys, anything that I can answer, like I said, I'm going to shoot out that email. If you have more questions, this is what we're here for, is to teach, is for knowledge. So if we can answer anything, I'm here. If you would like to learn more about the business credit package, I would love to put you in touch with David. If you, if you want to ask a question, ask a question. So I appreciate you guys. I'm probably just going to call this one here and jump on out. So last call, you got about 1 minute before I'm cutting this thing if I don't get any questions. There you go. That's a good answer, James. Go watch some credit classes. All right, guys, it was a blast. I appreciate you for showing up and hanging out with me this long. An hour became closer to 2, and if we can do anything to help, CreditNerds.com, 877-614-6373. The number's right there on your screen. The website's right down there at the bottom, CreditNerds.com. If we can do anything at all, just let us know. We appreciate you, and we will talk to everybody soon. Thank you, and good night.